Okay, I'm going to get started with the webinar today on disaster recovery as a service. I'm just going to move on to the next slide for those that might not be able to hear, have any trouble with audio. As you know, with the conference, the webinar, if you've been on before, then the idea is that you can either dial in to hear sound quality, which is usually better, or if you've got a good connection, you can dial in and use the audio which is available on the Join Me app that we use for the conferencing. So hopefully everyone has audio now. Any difficulties, then I'm sure they'll be able to contact the details which have been sent through on email. Okay, so moving on to the slide, let's get started. Just to let you know, we'll be recording this webinar as well, so if there's any particular slides you want to relook at, or if there's anything that you feel as though you've missed, then please feel free to download the webinar, which will be available to you on email once we've completed today. So just as an introduction, I'm Richard Thompson from CT Wholesale, and for those of you not sure who CT Wholesale are, we're just going to go through a number of our products and services that we supply, and then we're going to run on to the disaster recovery service information. So who is CT Wholesale? As part of the CT group, which was established in 2002, we have a direct focus on servicing large enterprise clients, but we have a wholesale focus on servicing IT and telecom resellers. So what does CT Wholesale provide? We provide cloud, telecoms and connectivity, and we wrap that up in a number of solutions and offer the service for that as well. How can CT Wholesale be so competitive? Well, we are coupled with all the tier 1 carriers in the UK, all the major ones, including BT, TTB and Virgin. We've got an experienced managed services team since we've been operating since 2002. And we're building automation within our portals. We've got a number of portals which are now live, and we'll see part of that today because cloud is one of the portals that's already complete, and you can fully automate and manage all of your cloud services in there, and as well as the disaster recovery as a service, which we'll run through briefly today. So a sneak preview of how the partner portal looks like. If you've not got access to that yet, then speak to your account manager, or alternatively just call our sales team and we can guide you through the process of getting registered for that portal. Essentially within the portal at the moment allows you to store your partner details. We've got details on pricing as well as product and marketing information which you can use and re-white label, but also it gives you access to all the detailed services within the portal's area. So for example, if you're wanting to run off any telecom billing you've got with us, or change an anti-spam service, or set up a new cloud, it can all be set up using the portals that are available in that area. So just to get started on the disaster recovery as a service, how does our DR solution work? So it's broke down into a number of components, and what I'm going to do today is talk through those components. But starting from the higher level, this is an overview of our current network diagram. We've added a further data center since that point, but when our new diagram gets released next week, you'll be able to view that on our website anyway. What you can see from the diagram is that we've got a number of cloud services available in the Wakefield, Northampton areas, as well as Manchester Science Park and within the London area. Within the Wakefield area, we've got and Northampton area as well, we've now got cloud services running between the two. So what you can do is, if you've got customer premise equipment on site, or you have servers which are stored in the cloud, you can run a backup of those servers into our cloud, and you can also turn those servers on should your customer premise equipment or should your alternative cloud solution fail. So the difference between disaster recovery as a service and backup is that with the disaster recovery as a service, you can turn those servers on when your other site fails. So just running down into that process a little bit more, as you can see on this slide from the customer premise, we've got a number of servers which might be as simple as one server which is virtualized on Hyper-V. Or it could be an extensive number of servers on Hyper-V and VMware, or even in a mixed environment with some SANs, all on different operating systems. But either way, the end result is that you've got a number of virtual machines that you want to back up. And you can back those up using Veeam, which has continually updated replicas, which you can see on section 2 there. And then from there, within section 3, that's when it allows you to turn on those servers should your customer premises equipment in section 1 fail. So it's kind of a two-step process. So we're backing up those virtual machines into our environment using a continual replica, and then we are turning those servers on, or you're turning those servers on through the control panel should the customer site fail. And then obviously that gives you the continuity of service that we've got listed there. So just looking at the DR solution components and how that's broken down to how we provide it, it's quite simple. So we've got an existing customer or premise, existing customer on-premise equipment or cloud offering. So that might be you've got some cloud currently which sits with another provider, or you've got a couple of customer premise sites that need those servers backing up. And then we've got an optional on-site drive. So what you can do is, rather than sending the backups directly through to us, which go through to the storage, you can send those virtual machine backups to an on-site NAS box and then go to the cloud. And the reason to have that NAS box in between is because it allows for faster recovery in DR should your equipment be available on site. So if you don't actually need to turn on the cloud offering, if the disaster isn't too bad, so for example, it could be that one of your virtual machines has just crashed out and you can't get it working at all, but the other virtual machines, your equipment is still running. So what you need to do is create a restore of that one virtual machine. That's an ideal scenario of using a NAS drive on site, because you've already got the virtual machine in your backup, you can just restore it from there using the Veeam software. Then you've got the Veeam software itself, so that's available either on a per VM licensing, which we do from £6 per month per VM, depending on the number of virtual machines you require. There's a 30-day trial available, or you can use your existing software. So if you've got a customer, or you've already purchased Veeam, you can use that software to connect to our CT Wholesale cloud storage, which is the next section. On Veeam Cloud Connect, which is the service that allows you to back up your virtual machines to the cloud, there's no per VM license fee, and it's just a flat storage fee which starts from 15 pence per month per gigabyte. There's no storage commit for that price. If you wanted to back up a number of VMs and there was a lot of storage requirements in there, then we can look at reducing that price for you for a storage commit. So all in all, the process is quite simple. You have some existing virtual machines, you can back those up into the cloud, which you can do at that price there. And then what you can also do is have it so you can turn those virtual machines which are backed up in the cloud on. Now, in order to do that, what we'd need to do is attach a cloud offering to those virtual machines, which is available from £6 per month per core and per gigabyte. So, just going back to the previous slide, we've got there your existing servers, an optional NAS box to store it on site, you've got your Veeam software, you've got your backup to the cloud, which is the storage, and then the next level up is the cloud servers, which then allow you to turn those servers on and off in the event of a disaster. So what we're going to do now is just run through that portal and how that works in terms of the cloud servers and how you can possibly turn that on or off in the cloud. Okay. Okay, so we've got a login session here which I set up earlier. We'll just log back in here. So within this demo zone that we've set up, as you can see from this login, we've got a number of virtual machines. So these could be the virtual machines that are backed up into the data center using Veeam. So just to recap on that again, you've got your existing virtual machines. We're using Veeam to send the data across to our data center, and then on top of that we've got some virtual machines which are ready to turn on, which connect to that data. So effectively you've got a copy of your virtual machine in the cloud which you can turn on and off as you choose in the event of a disaster, or even if you require additional resource. So this list of VMs here, we can create all the usual settings and make all the usual changes, just as you would as if you were managing your Hyper-V virtual machines or your VMware virtual machines on premise. If we go to this vApp Center here, so this is the zone that we've got set up. So you would have a zone set up for your customer, and you can also set up additional networks. So all these virtual machines are within the same network, and within the networking section you can also set up your own networks, set up additional networks, and change that into different VLANs, should you be familiar with that. We can help you guide through and help you set up the process depending on how technical or how comfortable you feel with the portal. We can set the whole process up, or alternatively we can just give you the portal to manage your own VMs. In terms of the ability to manage your own virtual machines, you can even just add additional virtual machines as you see fit. So if you want to add another virtual machine to your environment, you can do so, fill in the details, put in which operating system you prefer, click OK, fires up the VM, allows you to then create that within the cloud, and then of course you can use vCloud Connect to send you back up to it. When we assign you resource to allow you to set up your own virtual machines, that's done within your virtual data center here. So we would say, here you go, Mr. IT company, here's your cores, RAM, storage that you can use within your virtual data center, and you can chop that up as you see fit and add to it and create your own virtual machines in your own environment, just as if it was your own cloud. You can also brand the portal up, and you can monitor your resource in terms of how much of that usage you're using. So as you can see here, we're quite close to the storage limit on this zone, but we've got plenty of memory and plenty of processing power left. And then you can also customize all the settings that you'd expect to see in any of the other portals. You can add additional users, you can use LDAP integration with your Active Directory, so you can lock that down if you're wanting to allow several users and several technical resources within your organization to manage those cloud servers and manage those disaster recovery as a service solution for your customers. Okay, so that gives you a short overview, I guess, of how you can work vCloud and how you can manage those virtual machines within your own environment once you've set up the backup using vCloud Connect from your existing storage. What we can also do, for those of you still using physical environments, there is an option still available for that. We can still run a backup to it and set that up within the cloud. The process initially is a little bit more manual, but it's still possible. And then obviously for those virtual machines, fairly straightforward. We just make sure we get Veeam on there. You can set that up as a trial initially, and then set up your vCloud Connect so you can do your backup and your virtual machines, which can then be turned on and off in the event of a disaster. So just to recap from today. These are the components that we run through on the Veeam and the vCloud Connect service. If you need any further information, pricing, breakdowns, or examples of how that would work for your customer, for example, if you've got a solution you want us to run through an example of that, or if you've got a customer at the moment who might be considering that solution, if you just send us through some kind of basic overview of what their environment looks like, we can get back to you on how the costs would stack up and how that solution would work for them. Just before we finish the webinar, I've just got one question on the screen. Somebody's asking about how the backup gets integrated into the vCloud. Essentially what happens is when you set up the vCloud Connect, it sets up to a virtual machine within our data center, and we simply allow that virtual machine to be seen within the vCloud portal, and then you can get access to it. So any further questions, then please speak to your account manager, or don't hesitate just to give this number on screen a call, and we can help you guide you through any questions that you've got. Thank you very much for watching our webinar today. If you do receive any emails on future webinars, please log in, please participate, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you.